Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a public hearing. The date is May 2nd, 2022. We have 3 ordinances on the agenda for public hearing this evening that will be preceding the regularly scheduled council meeting agenda. The first one's going to be a public hearing on Ordinance 1073, concerning amending Chapter 35 regarding burning outdoors. An ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Havre de Grace adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of amending City Code Chapter 35 regarding burning outdoors. At this time, is anybody in attendance in the audience this evening here to speak on ordinance number 1073? Sir.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Kirk
Good evening and
Smith.
welcome.
I live at Stego Street, Havre de Grace, Maryland, 21078, and I'm here to speak on Ordinance 1073. I find that the ordinance is well written, it's quantifiable, it's justifiable because there are some folks in our fair city who will take advantage of burning material they should not. However, I find that measurable, or measurability, if you want to call it that, is not so well written. I feel that 2 feet is not clarified enough. I think that's high enough to be able to make your hot dogs, your marshmallows, cook your steaks, etc., but it's not written clear enough to me to understand if that's off the deck, off the bottom of your chimenea, or if it's 2 feet of flame out the top of your chimenea. Does everybody know what a chimenea is? It's one of the funnel. Yeah? Okay, good. I am concerned mainly on the measurability portion because, like most fishermen and hunters, you know, they think this is 6 inches. You have to be more specific, in my opinion, on what you're telling them to us, the people who will be affected by this if we're given a misdemeanor. That's about it. I mean, I thought the OPAC, the answers from the city council members and the candidate were very well done on this ordinance question, but I just wanted to bring it in front of the remainder of the city council. Does anybody have any questions on my thoughts? Thank you so much. Have a good evening, and thank you for representing us.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Who else wishes to comment on Ordinance 1073? Sir. Good evening and welcome to the public hearing. May we please have your name and address for the record?
Charles Mike, 1413 Superior Street.
Welcome.
Grace. First, we love fire pits and everything like that, and I don't see anything in the old ordinance which said you couldn't do a fire pit, but the new ordinance, just want to make sure that you have what I'm reading online under Dave Martin's thoughts and further down there, 35-3-4 or 2, 3, and 4. Is all that going to be included in this ordinance?
Mr. Bike, what we're going to do is go ahead and make all your comments and questions, and if any council members wish to answer it after public comment, they can go ahead and address them.
Okay, because I see, on the front page, you have burning leaves, 35-2, 35-3, location, size, conditions, 35-4, attendance and prohibition, and 35-5, violations and penalties. And then you go on, and it looks like someone's amended it, and it has a lot of different safeguards in there, which are proper, and I agree to. One of the things is it has the distance, like cut down from 25 feet to 15 feet, crossed out there. Why was that? And then there's, in red, it has how close a fire pit is allowed to be to the border of a property line. I'm very interested in that one. As Councilman Glenn and Chief Walter know, we had a terrible problem a couple years ago with a ignorant neighbor who was burning all kinds of stuff 25 feet from our bedroom window. And we asked nicely to have it stopped, and he told us he couldn't control which way the wind blew. And it took 2 calls to the police to have it taken care of. I finally had to use a personal call to Chief Walter to come up and survey the situation and actually send a letter out and have it remedied. Now, if all these items are in place, it's very specific that shouldn't have been allowed to happen. So I had nothing against this ordinance. It's fine if it has all these safeguards in it. And if Chief Walter's happy with it, and if she'll be able to verse her officers out of so many calls and say you've got excessive smoke coming over here, you know, it's not just pain in the butt neighbor calling, but it really is something, then I really had no problem with it. But the distances you had marked down from 15 to 25. I think it should be kept at 25. And then I'm curious on the property line item. How close to the property, because this fire pit, this guy, wasn't even a fire pit. It was an old tractor trailer rim that he used to burn stuff in. And he was burning construction material, roofing material, all kinds of stuff. And it was literally 5 feet from our property line and 20 feet from our bedroom window. So I'm concerned that as long as you have all these safeguards in, everyone should understand it. And everyone does a fire pit in Havre, or not everyone, but lots of people do. You do, I do, we do, and it shouldn't be a problem. But when you build but a bonfire is a different subject. So I think we have to make that distinction and make sure it's in here with your safeguards, which look proper and good. But I just want to make sure that is written into it and that the police are in agreement with it, along with the fire department. And we can go from there.
Thank you very much. Who else would like to speak on Ordinance 1073? Sir. Good evening and welcome. May we please have your name and address for the record?
Matthew Manning, the address in this day and age I'm not giving, but I do live in Havre, Grace, as you know. So,
welcome.
Hi. I have one broader comment I want to make, but I do have something specific about this bill that I want to say. So, should I do both now or the other later?
Do you have comments specific to Ordinance 1073?
Yes, but I also have a broader general comment.
We have comments from citizen item 6 on the agenda.
So that's later at the...
Yes.
Okay, so I'll do that later, the broader one. Right now, I'll just stay on this one. Overall, I'm fine with the bill because fires do happen, but I am concerned, as I already expressed to someone, just making sure that it is defined strictly to fireplaces, because getting it into anything else is quite literally, in a free society on private property, is getting, that's just, it's not acceptable. But fireplaces, I do understand. I just want to make sure that the bill is strictly confined to the wording with fireplaces and everything that it talks about. And also, I am concerned because I did read it, and while I understand putting, let's say, making it a civil offense if someone breaks one of the rules and putting a fine against it, I do think for something like this, for municipal code that the average person just simply does not keep track of in any way, shape, or form. They barely can keep track of state laws on average, let alone a municipal government beneath the county government on top of that. Therefore, I don't think, considering the nature of it, that it should be considered a misdemeanor. I do think it, unless it's been like repeated offenses, where you could, after the second or third time, you could make it a misdemeanor. But I do think that the first time, in regards, if there's an offense to this, that it should be a fine or a warning, or there has to be something, because people just are not, and they're not. It's going to create a situation where people are going to get charged with a misdemeanor, which could affect their employment, which could affect their lives and everything else with the way our society is designed. And it's just, that's not right for starting a fireplace. And I just think that there should be some sort of precaution in there for that. So, and that's it for that one. So,
thank you.
thanks.
Any other citizen in the audience wishes to speak on Ordinance 1073? Any comments from the council? Councilmember Ringsager?
I want to thank everybody who came up and commented on this. Again, one of the issues we have is you can't legislate common sense. You know, the issues of the guy burning outside your window, that was illegal anyways. You're not supposed to have any open burning per the old ordinance. And that's where the misdemeanor was. This entire ordinance is taking away the misdemeanor, and it's giving the police the power to come in and say, this fire is a nuisance, it's creating too much smoke, and we can order it extinguished, which in your case would be covered by that. The 15 feet from the structure, that was one of the compromises because we have so many houses like up in Scenic Manor that don't have a lot of yard, and 15 feet from their deck, and you know, trying to make it so they can still have their campfire in their yard. The inclusions from Dave, well, I did go over them with him. I didn't want to get into the keeping a fire stove, a fireplace, or a fire pit, the new ones, or even a grill on a deck, because it's not recommended by the fire code in the first place. So I didn't think that that was something we needed to go and deal with. You know, the other changes, everything else have been included with the bill as submitted, and that's it's the pleasure of the council if they want to add amendments to that. So I don't anticipate adding any more changes. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay, with Councilmember Martin.
And as we said, Councilmember Ringsacker and I have spoken. I put my thoughts to paper. I'm waiting for comments from the citizens. I think Councilmember Ringsacker and the other council members are also waiting to hear the comments. So, like I said, my ideas are shared. It's shared with the council. It's shared for the citizens to be able to read. And then their ability to work with us and communicate with us is how we will make a final decision. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming out and speaking tonight. I want to thank Council Ringsacker for moving this forward, and I just appreciate the time.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Martin. Okay, without any further comments. Okay. Now call public hearing on Ordinance 1073 be closed. Time is now 7:13. We're going to move on to public hearing for Ordinance 1074. Public hearing for Ordinance 1074 concerning establishing standards for open space and requiring Planning Commission review for open space areas within subdivision. It's an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Havre de Grace adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution and local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of establishing standards for open space and requiring Planning Commission review for proposed changes to open space areas within a subdivision. Is there any member in this audience this evening, in the attendance this evening, that wants to speak on Ordinance 1074? Any questions among the council members? Comments? Without any questions or comments from the public or the city council members, I now close public hearing on Ordinance 1074. The time is now 7:14. We now open up a public hearing on Ordinance 1075 concerning requiring Planning Commission review for open space areas within a planned adult community. An ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Havre de Grace adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of requiring Planning Commission review for proposed changes to open space areas within a planned adult community. Is any member in the audience here this evening to speak on 1075? Any comments from the council? Without any comments from the audience or any further comments from council, I now close public hearing on ordinance 1075 at 7:15. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The time is now 7:15. The date is May 2nd, 2022. I call to order a meeting of the Havre de Grace Mayor and City Council. I will call the roll. Council President Glenn.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Ringsager.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
All council members are present and accounted for. And kindly ask everybody to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and opening prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could ask everybody to kindly remain standing, it gives me great pleasure to invite Pastor Vincent Austin of the Agape Church. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, sir.
But we appreciate you being here.
Thank you again, sir. Good evening, Mayor, members of council, and citizens of our fine city. Please join me as I pray. Dear loving and wise God, as we come before you this evening for the purposes and cause of this city council meeting, we share in our hearts a concerted thank you. As we set out this evening to establish plans, pass procedures, and listen to petitions brought forward, let them all be done in decency and good order, found to be pleasing in your sight. Tonight I pray for the citizens of Havre de Grace, for our mayor, the assembled council members, and the various levels of city officials who honorably serve the people of Havre de Grace. Let all that transpires in this chamber tonight, Lord, be pleasing in your sight and purpose-filled. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen.
Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time and your words.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, before we move forward, I have one agenda change.
What you got, CP?
I'd like to remove item 14B, it's a public works agreement, from the agenda under new business. There's still a little bit more work to do before we move forward.
Okay, remove 14B, Public Works Agreement on 100 Residence Way. Okay, thank you very much, Council President. That be all?
That'll be it.
Okay. We're going to go to item number 5, which is going to be approval of minutes from the council meeting of April 18th, 2022. Council will have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Boyer, seconded by Councilmember Robertson. Questions or comments on the minutes?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'll be abstaining from the vote as I wasn't at the meeting on April 18th.
Copy that, Council President. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. City Council meeting minutes, April 18th, 2022, carry 5-0 in the affirmative. Item B, City Council Fiscal Year 23 Budget Work Session Minutes from April 25th, 2022. Council have a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. City Council Fiscal Year 23 Budget Work Session from April 25th, 2022. The minutes are approved, 6-0 in the affirmative. Item 6 is comments from citizens. And this is the part of this evening's agenda that if you wish to speak on an agenda item, now's the time to do so. If you wish to speak on any other matter of city business, this is also the time to do so. Normally what I do is if anyone has a pre-filled out form, I'll call on those citizens first, and then when I'm done the forms, I'll call on the audience at large. I'd like to call Ms. Donna Mandel. Good evening. Welcome to the City Council meeting. May you please have your name and address for record.
Good evening. Oh, I'm sorry. Steve's going to yell at me because I broke it. Donna Mandel, 1725 Tower Road, Aberdeen. Just wanted to thank the City Council for the support you've given to the Havre de Grace Farmers Market. I'm a member of the Market Board. I've also been a vendor at the Farmers Market for 14 years now. And I really appreciate all the support you've given us. This has been a rough year to get started, as everyone knows, with our change in location. I want to invite everyone to come to our opening market this Saturday, May 7th, on St. John Street in the 100th block of St. John and at the entrance to Hutchins Park. We have 31 vendors this year, including a lot of returning vendors, and a few new vendors are joining us, and as well as some community organizations. Register to Vote and Hartford Tree Green Team, Havre de Grace Green Team are joining us this year. So again, I appreciate all the work you've done to support us. I would like to make a suggestion as we move forward. I know our permit was only approved for 2 months, but the vendors really would like to have a permanent home at least for the 2022 season. Hopefully 2023 may see us in a different location, but at least for the 2022 season, we would like to have a permanent home. We would like to stay in the downtown area of Havre de Grace. I think it's very important for our customers that we stay in the downtown area of the city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to the farmers market. Next name is, I'm not sure if I'm going to say the last name right. Tommy. I'm sorry. Tommy. Last name, sir?
Tommy Shireman.
Okay.
601 Robin Hood Road. Third
Welcome.
Way Farm is our business. I'm here also to speak on behalf of the vendors of the Havre de Grace Farmers Market. I also am a member of the vendor committee along with Donna. And I'm just here to second a lot of what she has said and to voice our concern that, we really believe that as a farmer's market, we are an integral part of this community's local economic business and helping to bring a lot of opportunity to farmers and vendors like myself who don't have other places to sell our goods necessarily. And so, the upheaval that's happened from being not allowed to continue operating at the park is definitely going to put a hindrance on the opportunity for our businesses to succeed and do well. And so we're really excited and thankful for the opportunity to stay near the park on St. John Street, which you've approved for the first 2 months. And I also would like to ask that we be considered the chance to be given a permanent home for the season so that in the event that we would have to move mid-season, we really fear that we will lose a lot of potential customers that don't have social media, don't pay attention to those things, and will think that the farmers market is just closed for the year because we're no longer where we were. For businesses like ourselves, like myself, we depend on this farmers market to be about 30 to 40% of our yearly sales. And so it's very critical for us to have a livelihood and survive from this. And so although, yes, we will be excited and thankful to have a place to sell our products and do the market anywhere, we really think that keeping continuity with the place will really mean a lot to us and hopefully to the community as well. So I hope that the council will consider these ideas.
Tommy, I want to let you know that the farmers market is very important to the city of Havre de Grace, and that the city of Havre de Grace has your back. And we're going to do everything we can to keep you downtown and find a great permanent location, whether it remains at the intersection of Hutchins Park and Market Street, or whether we move back in the park one day or whatever. Just want to let you know that we're going to do everything we can to keep it as successful as it's been going.
Thank you so much. That
Thank you
means
very
a lot.
much for coming out to speak.
Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. I'd like to call forward Mr. Al Pederoff. Good evening, sir, and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Al Pederoff, 9317 Avenue, here in Havre de Grace.
Welcome.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and the council. I came here to just give a quick update on what's known as Cat Club of Havre de Grace. We've been trying to keep our fine city litter-free since 2013. And if anybody doesn't know, we are a committee of the Community Projects of Havre de Grace Incorporated, which is nonprofit umbrella that's made it possible for us to succeed, really. Some of just the basic things, just to keep you and anyone else listening, we encourage volunteers to show up every Saturday morning at 8:30. We meet at the Rochambeau Plaza right by the Concord Point Coffee Shop. So feel free to come on down if anybody wants to help out. We're finding that adults and kids alike are finding this activity enjoyable, therapeutic. It offers exercise and makes you feel good, and it makes the city look good. That encourages commerce and return tourism and all kinds of good things. We do have an Adopt a Block program that's been going on. We have kind of mixed success with that, depending on the level of enthusiasm from the people who try it, but it has made a big impact. There's at any time during the week, there's 30 to 40 people walking around their own neighborhoods, keeping things clean, and most of the time go unnoticed. So big shout out to those folks. We continue to do special events with various civic groups. One of the big ones we've done recently, it's been almost on a monthly basis, is we partnered with the volunteer club at the Havre de Grace Middle School, and honestly, it's been phenomenal. These kids sign up voluntarily. We've had as many as 80 kids show up on a Tuesday afternoon, and we take a walk around. It's generally pretty close to the middle school, but we've gone all the way up Juniata Street. We've been down Bloomsbury Avenue, Seneca, and it's still kind of stunning how much we pick up. As good as this town looks, there's still quite a bit of litter on the street. I've gotten to learn how much it does impact the city and our waterways. Anything that doesn't get picked up is on its way to the river, and so we're trying to make sure that doesn't happen. And obviously, some of the other things that it does is protects property value and preserve the tax base. So we think it's all in all a win-win for everybody. We like to educate youth and adults alike as why this is so important, and we want to promote civic pride. So some of the things you guys can do to help us is just keep supporting us. We've gotten some support through community projects. It's greatly appreciated. It helps keep us well supplied. Mentioning us in the newsletter, that kind of thing helps. I had one suggestion. I don't know if I've ever said this openly, but we have that real nice street cleaner truck, and it works really great when there's no cars in the way. And I thought if it could be mentioned to maybe make Revolution Street, Superior Street, and Juniata Streets regular routes. There are very little cars parked on those ways, but often there are areas that we clean a lot, so that could really help us a lot. So I just want to say that openly. Outside of that, we're approaching 10 years of service to the city. I couldn't count the thousands of hours that volunteers have given on behalf of our mission. So any questions from you guys?
Al, first I want to thank you for coming here tonight. I know your time is very valuable. Just really wanted the citizens to hear about the great things you've been doing. And, I think the whole city loves to see those orange shirts walk around the city every Saturday morning. And it's grown to be a signature trademark for the city of Havre de Grace. And if you wouldn't mind just sticking around just for a few minutes after comments from citizens, I have something I wanted to present to you. Oh. If you wouldn't mind just hanging out for a few more minutes. But other than that, like I said, everything you guys do, you perform a function for the city we could never even dream about paying for. It's just nothing can beat volunteers. And the way you guys just ascend on every street and clean it up, it's great. So I appreciate being here. Again, I know your time's valuable, but if you just hang out for a few more minutes, I would appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Al. I'd like to call forward Carrie Parsons. Good evening, Ms. Parsons. Maybe please have your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Council Member and Mayor. It's Carrie Parson, 840 Otsego Street here in Havre de Grace.
Welcome.
Thank you. I also wish to thank you for the letter of condolences that I received earlier in February regarding my mother.
I'm very sorry.
It was greatly appreciated, and I do appreciate it. I am going to make just a couple quick comments regarding the Ordinance 1072 Airbnb. The IRS did identify Airbnb as an umbrella corporation, thus identifying each property under contract with Airbnb Corporation to be listed as a business. The IRS also identified rental properties as businesses and to be treated such as. Unfortunately, and I'll go back to it, since April 18, 2011, under Ordinance number 925, the governing body has yet to update Chapter 147 of the City Code. In June 2020, the last census, Havre de Grace's rental property exceeded 40% within our area. We also have new annex properties, which will increase that number. Of that 40%, approximately 80% of the landlords lived outside the county and the state. Due to the moratorium beginning in April 18, 2011, the current code is not fully enforceable because we cannot distinguish between private properties and properties identified as rental. According to the State of Maryland SDAT website, many of those businesses are under as an LLC, and they are not in good standing or have been forfeited. So the question is, why do we still have renters living in those properties? So the question that I have is, since we can't even capture our rental properties, how are you going to capture the rental properties under an Airbnb? I don't think we're going to be able to. How will you be able to enforce any future code regarding the Airbnb when even a basic chapter of 147, the rental code, is still under moratorium? And these are the questions that I come to the council to try to identify, and hopefully we can fix the rental code and also be able to identify the Airbnb and bring some of our properties up to at least a HUD standard, because these homes are other people's homes, even though they're renting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Parsons? Okay, that concludes my, my pre-filled out forms. I will now open up the floor to citizens who wish to speak on any general city business or agenda items. Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Welcome.
Bunny Worthington, Pink Lane, Havre de Grace.
Hello.
I don't know where I fit into this, but it was suggested that this is where I would be able to get all of you to get the information that I have. Mine is about the Regal trash dump back in the day, and I have spent hours doing the research on what it's like currently on Young Street, and this was promoted to me to try to do after the attempt of the 4-house program, which went away, which was very lovely. So it was suggested to me that the council and the certain people that are like the chairman of the parks and planning commission and stuff receive this book, which has been updated. It's from the Washington College in Chestertown. And so I have marked it all. I don't want to go tiptoeing around here while you're trying to do something, but it's all marked where it's supposed to go, or if not, the people that are here, the people that are under them that also get it, they could give it to them. May I have permission to distribute it?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Ms. Worthington had contacted City Hall with this information, and I told her the best place to be able to speak about it and distribute would be at the council meeting. We can distribute it for you if you like, or you can yourself, but I'll make sure that each person gets the booklet.
That's just the only goal now. So do you want me to leave it with you? Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sir. Good evening.
Hi. So this is a 3-part thing. The first part is going to...
Sir, can you state your name just one more time?
Sorry, Matthew Manning.
Perfect, thank you.
the first part is going to not quite sound at first, but I feel like it's necessary for a variety of reasons. But actually, no, the second part I meant. In general, before I go into the Airbnb thing, I truthfully could not read a ton on that online. I didn't. That was kind of sparse compared to the other ordinances. But I do just want, to go into a broader issue with the rental stuff with this. You do already know my own Pacific issue and concerns I have, and they were partially addressed. I do have some new ones that I need to follow up on regarding renters in this town being treated like second-class citizens. And I'm also a bit concerned without reading the Airbnb. I just encourage you, it seems like you guys seem really eager to be able to regulate the Airbnb aspect and people renting those as short-term rentals, but when it comes to regulating the local large landlords in town, it's like you don't want to go touch that with a 10-foot pole, it feels like. So I just do ask you to sort of do that, because it seems like a broader trend in our society. An individual commits a crime or does something wrong, there's a whole SWAT team there, basically, almost, and they're almost, in our society, everything is put in jail for everything, which is not a good way to run a society. We have the highest incarceration rate in the known world. But outside of that, though, the simple, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But when you're doing, you can't, I know what I was saying. And yeah, if a corporation breaks a law, it's a civil offense, and there's practically like it's just a slap in the hand. And I can see that trend in our society consistently, whether it's here, above you, or on other layers of our government, but it is a consistent trend, and I truthfully wish it would stop. It's not a fair way to run a society. And also, this was just, I don't like this notion of renters, I'm speaking about this issue broadly without going into the specifics, being treated like they're second-class serfs, and the people who own in town property are the people who should be in charge. That's how we ran our society 300 years ago. I mean, that's when we had it to where only straight white males who own property could vote. We're not going back to those days. I'll be quite frank, my generation won't allow us to go back to those days, and it's an illegitimate way to govern. It has to be a democratic government. I support democracy. I truthfully, and this is going into my second part about me, because I feel like I have been, I'm not going to name names here, but I feel like by some, I have been labeled, and it's just not right, because I do support a stable society like you do. I might have a different version of it slightly than what you do, but the end goal is roughly the same. I am a California-style Democrat in terms of what I support. I do support more direct democracy in conjunction with representative democracy, because I do believe that while we need an active governing body to handle smaller things, I do believe that the people should be the ultimate authority, not a state legislator or those elected. The people should have the ability to override you or to pass their own bills if they collect enough signatures if they want to, because that is, if your authority comes as a democracy from the people, then to say that the people have no control is to say that your authority is illegitimate, which it's sort of like it's circular logic almost. But that's where I'm coming from with this. And of course, I do support having, as I've already told the police chief, I understand there must be some police. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form. We would have murders, crimes, everything going on everywhere if there weren't some police. However, as someone who did just get back from California, living there for close to 2 years, I can tell you they had, for a 10,000 person town, roughly the size of this town, just a touch smaller, not too much smaller, but in terms of its size and general capacity, they had an auxiliary police station with 2 police officers in it, at max at any given time, sometimes 1, and the office closed at 5 p.m. And there was still law and order. There wasn't mass crime going on. There wasn't everything else going on. But at the same time, people could live their lives freely, and you guys only interfered for the major things, which is how it's supposed to be. You guys are not supposed to govern every little aspect of people's lives. Even if you say you have the right, you don't morally have the right, in my opinion. And that doesn't make me a bad person just because I believe those things, just because I believe a slightly different society than what you guys believe in. It's a slightly different version, but I still want a stable society. I still want us to have a functional society, and I know we're completely screwed without it, to be quite honest with you. So I hope you don't confuse me in some parts of what I say as with that. I just believe in a slightly different version, but the end goal is roughly the same. And in terms of my final aspect here, and this goes into the larger representative democracies, there are some democracies in the world where you can make an appointment and you can have a meeting with your elected representative within a few weeks max at almost any given time. Here, and I'm not going to start, and I'm being kind here by not mentioning names at this point in time, but a good portion of you haven't had the decency to pick up the phone to call me back just because I'm liberal and outspoken, and that's not right. And I'm sorry, you cannot choose who your constituents are. I know some of your peers and some of the other conservative states that have gerrymandered to the point using computer systems to systematically eliminate minority voters. That's a different story, but that is not a legitimate way to govern. And I'm not going to go away, guys. If you guys do something morally questionable, I will be here, I will speak up about it, and I'm not going to back down. And that doesn't make me a bad person because I'm not backing down because I believe something is morally wrong or have a different opinion on it than you guys. And I really wished you would, for lack of a better term, call off your wolves in other areas because it's just morally not right. If I came up here and I told you I want a society to just destabilize and I don't want any form of government or that sort of thing or anarchy, that would be a more understandable approach or how you would treat a political opponent. But when someone's not actually running against you in office, some of the tactics that have been used against me indirectly are just wrong for someone who's not even running against you in political office right now. So I'm just asking you to please have some morality, to please pick up the phone, and if you call yourselves a real democracy, then you have to return people's phone calls. They have to, I mean, I've contacted some of you kindly and nicely for over a year asking for a meeting, some of you, and only 2 of you have had the decency to respond to me. And you're mainly doing it because I'm an outspoken liberal, and you know that's wrong. And if you think that that's an effective way to govern, then quite frankly, in my opinion, you don't deserve the right to govern anymore if you can dismiss the liberals in your population that you disagree with. We're here, we're your constituents, we have just as much of a right to affect this town as the conservatives. And I'm really getting tired of being labeled in all these different ways just because I believe differently. And that's just not right. And I'm pretty much done. So.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Who else in the audience would like to address council? Sir? Welcome back to the podium. Can we just have your name one more time for the record?
My name is Kirk Smith, and I'm going to agree with Mr. Manning. I'm a liberal, green, libertarian type guy, and I like what he's saying. You guys are elected. You've listened to me for what, 10 years? Some of you weren't even on the council then, and you got on the council, and you are new, and you still listen to me. There's been a couple times where I felt that people weren't listening to me, so I paid to run against all of you so that they would listen to me, and you all would listen to me, even get the mayor to listen to me once, where I spoke out of place. But onwards to what I wanted to talk about. It's the month of May. We had Beltane yesterday. We planted a bunch of plants, some trees, shrubs, edible food for later. When's the best time to plant? 20 years ago. Where's the best place to plant? Where the tree commission tells you to. What's the best tree species to plant? A native in what we tell you to, because that's what's going to grow well here. But today is the start, well, yesterday was the start of Military Appreciation Month. It came about in 1999 as an act that was started by the late, great, in my opinion, Senator John McCain. True war hero, and the guy that introduced me to the fact that there is plenty of airplanes in the sea and still no submarines in the sky, Chief Smith, which I still think is funny today. But I would like to encourage everybody on the council, our staff, and our members to, if you see somebody in uniform, to say thank you. You see them with their family members, you say thank you to them. See them with their kids, you say thank you to them. There's a lot of different military history. I won't go into it all. Everything from the surrender of Nazis in Germany in May to, I think we dropped a bomb even in May of 1945. I'll leave that to our history major, the mayor. And anyways, just like to encourage everybody to recognize that this is May is the recognized month of the military for the United States. It's a congressional act, and to say thank you to all our members. Thank you, Councilmember Robertson, specifically. Namaste.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Who else in the audience wishes to address the council under public comment? Sir. Welcome back to the podium. Let me just have your name one more time for the record, please.
Charles Mike, 1413 Superior Street, Havre de Grace. A couple items. First item is back on the burning ordinance. I'd like to put in a request that the distance from the property line be written into the ordinance, so you have a specific distance in there. I think that's important, so, along with some of the other items. So that's number one. Number two, on going back on the question of the farmers market, the last 3 or 4 council meetings, there have been a number of citizens that have come out and spoken against the location, proposed location, relocation of the farmers market, and specifically saying that it would, again, be adverse to property owners and business owners. And those same citizens, us included, had a suggestion of what we thought is a great place, which was the old, the Havre de Grace High School auditorium parking lot, which could be a great permanent location for the farmers market, still close to downtown, serviced by the trolley and all that. At the last council meetings, we weren't able to attend, but I watched it intently and watched a spirited debate with you guys on proposed relocation of it to St. John Street. And you ended up giving it just a 2-month trial period to see what goes on. My question is, after numerous citizens, and City Council works for the citizens of Havre de Grace, so after numerous citizens will come up and say, these locations really aren't workable anymore due to problems with personal property and business property, here's a better location. I did not hear any citizen in the last 3 or 4 weeks say that they wanted to keep that market here or here or here. It was all citizens saying that this area, this market should be kept maybe at a different location, which a permanent location could be a great location. So then you go back and put it for a couple months down on St. John Street. Now, a couple weeks back, we spoke. My wife came up and said, you know, if the council would be a little bit more proactive on some of these issues that affect citizens and businesses instead of reactive, it might work out. And I had to ask, did anyone reach out to the few businesses on St. John Street? You got a barber down there who's been in business for over 45 years, longer than any of you other than Councilman Glenn have been in Havre de Grace. And no one reached out to him. Saturday morning, that's his busiest time. You have a couple of new businesses in the old Ordinary building that just starting up. No one's contacted them. So, I mean, again, this is how we got in problems in the first place, by not working with the citizens. And that's pretty much called common courtesy. And I just wish that we would all start doing that better. I think the location at the high school would be a permanent spot. It'd be great. It's accessible in all directions, and we just wish that would happen. And my last comment is on the budget. I haven't really gone through the whole budget completely yet, but looking at it, my first comment is I see that out of the $13.8 million we're getting from the feds, that we're going to commit almost $8 million of it to the downtown, refurbishing downtown Havre de Grace. Mayor Martin, you've said a lot of times this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to fix it. Well, I think you're right, it's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but I think your target's wrong. I think more of that money should have been targeted towards the water and sewer fund to really get in and fix that. We're not going to get a nice bonus from the government like this again, and to put 60% of it downtown and not help out the water and sewer fund more. I see we are putting money into it, and we're putting money into other very, very noble areas that we need. But I think more of that money should have gone to the water and sewer area, which serves all of Havre de Grace. So those are my comments.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to make a correction to what I said when I was referring to the people who met with me. I was just speaking of the city, not others that I met with, just to clarify my comment.
Would you like to come back up, Mr. Manning, and speak?
No, I just wanted to make that clarification.
Okay. Anyone else wishes to address the council this evening? Any comments from the council?
Okay.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 7, appointments. This evening we have no appointments. Item 8, recognitions. This evening we have no recognitions. Item 9, proclamations, which takes us to item number 10. Presentations. Okay.
Send something to Al.
Al. You want to present? Okay.
So I'd like to ask Ms. Taryn Martin, Mr. Mike Bracknell, who represent the Havre de Grace Independence Day Commission, to join me here at the podium for a special announcement of the Grand Marshal for the 2022 Independence Day Parade.
Thank you, Mayor and Council and citizens of Havre de Grace. I'm Taryn Martin, co-chair of the Havre de Grace Independence Day Commission. I'm here with Commission member Michael Bracknell to announce the 2022 Grand Marshal of the Havre de Grace Independence Day Parade. It has been our tradition to announce the Grand Marshal during the first week of May, when we celebrate Defenders Day in the city of Havre de Grace. This seems like the perfect time to announce the Grand Marshal as a true defender and ambassador of Havre de Grace. Since I became parade chair in 2017, it has been my honor and privilege to have the distinct opportunity to honor some of the great heroes and defenders of Havre de Grace through the role of Grand Marshal. Past honorees have included Noble Menser, Don Osmond, Sergeant Dan Petz, and Barb Bachman. Each of these Grand Marshals exemplified the true spirit of Havre de Grace through military service, volunteer service, first responder service, and medical service. This year, our parade theme is America the Beautiful, focusing more specifically on our amazing piece of America here in Havre de Grace. As we discuss this theme and search for the perfect person to represent this theme and to showcase the greatness in our piece of America, it was completely obvious who that person should be. This year's Grand Marshal is a true hero and defender of Havre de Grace. It is a person who puts the community of Havre de Grace first and foremost before almost anything else. It is a person who has dedicated time, effort, and energy to helping create a Havre de Grace the Beautiful through service, compassion, and leadership. Even greater, this individual has grown their influence to inspire countless others to follow in their footsteps, creating a true ripple effect of service throughout our community and the surrounding communities. Without a doubt, Havre de Grace would not be as beautiful as it is today without the contributions, I'm getting nervous, of this individual. Mr. Al Pederoff, there's a reason they asked you to come present at the council meeting tonight, and that is my doing. So this year, it is our incredible honor to announce, if you will accept, Mr. Al Pederoff, founder of the Cat Club, as Grand Marshal of the 2022 Havre de Grace Independence Day Parade. So we can't think, and I'm sure you can think of no better individual who honors the theme of America the Beautiful. We look forward to seeing Al and all of his Cat Club volunteers at the beginning of the parade on Sunday, July 3rd. And special thanks to Director of Administration Steve Gamatoria, who is in on the ruse to get you here. So thank you for giving a presentation to the crowd about your Cat Club and then staying here so we could honor you. So do you accept?
With honor and pleasure. Thank you very much. Our volunteers will be honored for me to represent them. So thank you. Yes, I'm humbled.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. Peteroff.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming out tonight.
I don't know what to say. I'm a little shaken a little.
Well, we're just glad you didn't tell us that you already booked a cruise that weekend or something like that. So
I was going to say you're planning to be in town, right?
yeah, we're just glad that your schedule is open up for it. So very deserving. We appreciate it. So
Thank you.
And thanks again for the update on the Cat Club. I was worried you were going to walk out after you gave the presentation, but we appreciate you sticking around. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate all you do for us. I know. Okay, we're going to go to item 11, resolutions. This evening we have two resolutions. Item A, Charter Resolution number 291, concerning annexation of 1535 Pulaski Highways. Going to be a second reading because this is a charter resolution, and I'm going to hand this off to the chair of the Planning Committee, Councilmember Ringsacher.
Mr. Mayor, Council, make a motion to introduce a charter resolution number 291 concerning annexation of 1535 Pulaski Highway for second reading and adoption.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Ringsacher, seconded by Councilmember Martin. This is a motion to introduce a charter resolution on second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The introduction of Charter Resolution 291 carries 6-0 in the affirmative on second reading. This is going to be a resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of the Maryland Constitution, Article 11E of the provisions in the annotated Code of Maryland, Local Government Article Subtitle 3, Amendment or Repeal of Charter and Subtitle 4 Annexation, authorizing the legislative body of a municipality to annex property, extending the boundaries of a municipality by resolution, to amend the city charter, specifically Appendix A of the Havre de Grace Charter by adding subsection A37, the first 2022 addition to the city boundaries, along with a legal description of the acres of land which will enlarge the boundaries of the city of Havre de Grace to include the lands of Miles Lamson located northwest of Pulaski Highway and the CSX rail line at 1535 Pulaski Highway, and consisting of 22.693 acres, more or less. Council, I have a motion to adopt Charter Resolution 291 on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Zinner and seconded by Councilmember Ringsacher. Questions or comments? Councilmember Ringsacher.
Mayor, as previously discussed at the prior meeting, it's an annexation of 22.693 acres, which is corrected with the meets and bounds, known colloquially as the Lamson property, and it's just on the other side of the railroad tracks and connects to Blenheim Farms.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Ringsacher. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Council, being a charter resolution, we're going to do a roll call vote. Councilmember Zinner?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Ringsacher?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Council President Glenn?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, Charter Resolution number 291 concerning annexation of 1535 Pulaski Highway is adopted by council on second reading. Item B, counter resolution concerning support of appropriations within the Hartford County fiscal year 2023 budget for Havre de Grace projects. I'm going to hand this off to the council president.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to introduce calendar resolution concerning support of appropriations within the Harford County fiscal year 2023 budget for Havre Grace projects.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by the council president, seconded by Councilmember Ringsacher. This is a motion to introduce calendar resolution. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce resolution carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Council, this will be known as Resolution 2022-12, 2022-12. A resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre Grace, Maryland, pursuant to the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland and sections 33 and 34 of the City Charter for support of appropriations within the Harford County fiscal year 2023 budget for Havre Grace projects. Council, do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-12?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by the council president, seconded by Councilman Robertson. Questions or comments? Council President?
This legislation highlights several appropriations found in the Harford County budget that will benefit the citizens of Havre Grace, and these include $500,000 for the Havre Grace Auditorium roof, $500,000 for the Harmerstown Arts Center, $1 million for the Living Shoreline, and $1.5 million for the Susquehanna Hose Company House 1 renovations. Our plan, once approved, or if approved, our plan is to submit a copy of this resolution to the Harford County Council no later than May 4th, 2022. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Councilman Robertson?
Yeah, as Council President had said, there's $3.5 million that the county executive had put in his budget for FY23 for projects here in Havre Grace. And we just want to make it well known, in case there's any questions from our representatives on the county council, that we're very much in favor of the county executive's disposition. So I think it's a wise decision by the council president and the administration to move forward with a formal blessing from our city.
Thank you very much, Councilman Robertson. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Council, I'm going to do a roll call on Resolution 2022-12. Councilman Robertson?
Yes.
Councilman Ringsager?
Yes.
Council President Glenn?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, calendar resolution 2022-12 is adopted 6-0 in the affirmative. We're going to go to item 12 on this evening's agenda, ordinances. This evening we have 3 ordinances. Item A, ordinance number 1072 concerning a moratorium of short-term rentals. This is going to be a second reading, and I will hand this off to the council president.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to introduce ordinance number 1072 concerning temporary moratorium on short-term rentals for second reading.
Council, I have a motion by the council president, seconded by Councilman Robertson. This is a motion to introduce ordinance 1072 on second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction of this ordinance? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1072 on second reading carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article, and the land use article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre Grace City Charter, to establish a temporary moratorium on the approval and issuance of permits within the city's municipal limits for short-term rentals. Council, I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1072 on second reading.
So move.
Second.
Motion by the council president, seconded by Councilman Ringsacher. Questions or comments? Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Gary, thank you for your comments tonight. In addition, I received an email from a concerned citizen that basically said that the moratorium makes no good sense. but I want to go on record tonight and say I disagree, and here's why I disagree. The city of Havre de Grace, like other municipalities, has experienced a positive trend in the housing market, in large part due to lower interest rates. This, in turn, has opened the possibilities for investors. We have always taken pride that we are a small-town residential community. I basically have always called us the hidden jewel. With that said, people that tend to buy here do so because of the small-town feel and the residential community that they are buying in. They have a reasonable expectation that the neighborhood will be somewhat stable. With the pending rise of short-term rentals, it has the potential to disrupt the so-called stable atmosphere that attracted homeowners here in the first place. Bottom line, short-term rentals could impact existing neighborhoods. With that said, we need to ensure that we do the right thing for the right reasons and examine things like, are short-term rentals consistent with the overall comprehensive plan? Do they comply with current zoning classifications? What is the potential impact on parking in an existing neighborhood? And the list goes on and on. The goal of this legislation is to ensure a level playing field for the full-time residents. Again, we are not against short-term rentals, but what we want to do is ensure that it's done right, and the moratorium, I think, gives us that opportunity. We do not want to lose a small-town feel that attracts so many full-time residents here in the first place. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you, Council President. Any other questions or comments from the council? Okay, ready for a roll call. This is going to be a roll call vote on Ordinance 1072, second reading. Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Council President Glenn.
Yes.
Councilmember Ringsager.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, ordinance number 1072 concerning temporary moratorium on short-term rentals is adopted and approved by council. Item B, ordinance concerning the fiscal year 2023 tax rate. This is going to be first reading, and I will hand this introduction off to the chair of the Finance Committee, Councilman Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to introduce for first reading the FY 2023 tax rate.
Council, I have a motion by Councilman Robertson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Zinner. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance concerning the tax rate on first reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance concerning the 2023 tax rate carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Council, this will be known as Ordinance 1076, 1076, an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, adopted pursuant to the authority of the authority of the Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, Annotated Code of Maryland Tax Property Article Title 6, the Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, to fix the tax rate for the fiscal year July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023, on each $100 of assessable real property, personal property, and providing additional special tax levied within the critical area special taxing district and setting the service charge for the semi-annual property tax payment option. Council, to have a motion to adopt Ordinance 1076 on first reading.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Robertson and seconded by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments? Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you. For those following at home, just a reminder that this is just maintaining the same property tax rate as in prior years. So again, tax rates remaining stagnant.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Any other questions or comments? Council, I'm going to do a roll call on 1076. Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner. Yes. Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Council President Glenn.
Yes.
Councilmember Ringsager.
Yes.
And Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, Ordinance 1076 concerning the 2023 fiscal year tax rate is adopted on first reading. Council President, when would you like to have the public hearing?
We'll have it at the next council meeting at 7 p.m. No, we got to do it. We got to do it Monday night, so we got to do it on the 9th.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
I had a brain for it.
Okay, so the public hearing on the tax rate ordinance will be next Monday night,
6 p.m.
6 p.m., May 9th, at 6 p.m., right here in the council chamber. It needs to be voted on and adopted before we retire the current council, which will be at the next council meeting on the 18th, but wait, 16th? 16th?
Yes.
And so we'll have a public hearing next Monday. So next Monday, right here, 6 o'clock, May 9th, 1076. Thank you. We're going to go to item C, ordinance concerning the fiscal year 2023 water and sewer rates. And this one, of course, I'm going to hand off again to the chair of the Budget Finance Committee, Councilman Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I think you just made me a little sad, reminded me that that's CP's last public hearing. Anyway, so, Mayor, fellow council members, I move to introduce an ordinance to establish the water and sewer rates for FY23.
Council, I have a motion by Councilman Robertson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Ringsager. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance concerning 2023 water and sewer rates. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance concerning the sewer rates for 2023 carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This is going to be an ordinance by the Mayor City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution and Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, City Code Chapter 196 and Exhibit A, thereto establishing the city water and sewer rates and service participation fees for the users of city water and sewer system. This is going to be known as Ordinance 1077, 1077. Council, do I have a motion to adopt 1077 on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Robertson and second by Councilman Ringsager. Questions or comments? Okay. All right. We're going to do a roll call vote on 1077. Council President Glenn.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ringsager.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
By roll call of 6-0 in the affirmative, Ordinance 1077 concerning fiscal year 2023 water and sewer rates is adopted. Council President Glenn, public hearing.
May 9th, 6 p.m.
Yep, public hearing May 9th, 6 p.m. Public hearing on Ordinance 1077, May 9th at 6 p.m. Following the public hearing on Ordinance 1076. And just FYI, for those following at home, the water and sewer rates for 2023 remain unchanged. There is no increase in the water and sewer rates for fiscal year 2023. Taxes won't change, water sewer rates won't change. Just let everybody know that.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. I was
It's okay,
spacing
don't
out.
worry about it, that's all right. Just in case somebody was sitting at home thinking, okay, is there a water rate increase or not? Okay, no, everything's gonna be the same. We're gonna move on to old business, item 13. There's no old business this evening. Item 14, we have one item under new business, and it involves a budget amendment. And once again, I'm gonna hand this off to Councilmember Robertson, who chairs the Budget and Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to approve Budget Amendment 2022-19 for improvements to the Star Center.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Zinner. This is a budget amendment 2022-19. Questions or comments? Councilmember Robertson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, this is to approve $1.2 million in ARPA funding to be used toward replacing the roof at the Star Center. A change in this amendment compared to when it was on the agenda for last council meeting is the inclusion of the $500,000 that is proposed in the county's budget, and that will replenish that amount in ARPA funding if and when we receive it. So with our resolution tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it is your job. Call your county representative and encourage them to pass the county executive's budget as written.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Boyer.
I just want to also point out that the reason why we would like to move forward with this is because there is a significant need now for the roof versus us waiting until the county council approves the money. It makes more sense for us to fix the roof now rather than wait. So it is a little bit of a risk, but I think it's a prudent risk. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Boyer. Any other questions or comments? And I appreciate the comments. And just to add one more, piece of information, the building, we're very grateful for the auditorium gymnasium, and we believe it's going to be of great use to the citizens, not just Havre Grace, but Hartford County. We're also very grateful for the assistance that County Executive Glassman put in his budget to help us offset the cost. The roof is failing in several areas. Matter of fact, I just walked Councilmember Ringsager there through one evening last week, and we found several puddles just randomly around the area. So when you have wood basketball floors and old gym rooms with no ventilation, theater rooms, it's imperative that we shore up the roof as soon as we can. We can't find going the route of patching it. We can't find a roofing company that would patch the roof and stand by and guarantee their work, since the entire roof is in such disrepair. Hartford County Public Schools actually doesn't even have a record when the last time that roof was patched, or when that roof was actually done. So it's probably that old. And on top of that, our insurance company won't even insure the building until it has a new roof, because they know that roof is bad. So it's imperative that we get this done right away. And again, it's when we hopefully, again, as Councilman Robertson said, reach out to your county council members who represent us and ask them to support the money that County Executive Glassman put in his budget, the $500,000, help offset our costs. We appreciate that support. Any help we can get would help, but right now we will be taking 1.2 million from the ARP money that we got to take care of this, because it's a very pressing need. But like I say, this will benefit citizens of Havre de Grace, citizens of Hartford County, the regional area. Once that roof is secure, we have a stable building. So I appreciate the comment. I'm sorry? Oh, thank you. Yeah, a lot of people say when we talk about the roof of the auditorium gymnasium, they say, well, wasn't that roof replaced about 3 years ago when we had that big windstorm? There was some that was, but it was only one side of the slanted roof that faces Juniata Street that had damage to it. They only replaced what was damaged. The rest of the entire complex, of the rest of the auditorium and all the gymnasium, and remember, anyone living in Havre de Grace all their life knows there's a back gymnasium too. It's a huge roof, ginormous roof. So it's a big fix. But we're also grateful that this all came together at the same time that we had this chance to use the ARPA money for the funding. So again, if the county council approves the assistance that the county executive is willing to give us, that'd be greatly appreciated. So council, I'm going to go ahead and do a roll. We don't need to do a roll call vote. We'll do a voice vote. We have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, second by Councilmember Zinner. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Budget Amendment 2022-19 carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Councilmember Robertson, would you do me a favor, just for the record, read in the budget, the account numbers for this transfer?
Sure. In the 2 column, account number 01-0001-49-00, fund transfers ARPA, $1,200,000. In the 2 column, account number 01-1091-6508, Star Center, with center spelled the British way and not the American way, $1,200,000.
We good? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councilman Robertson. Okay, we're going to go to item 15, Director's Reports, and we're going to start with the Director of Administration, Mr. Gambatori. Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. This evening, just a few things. One, tomorrow morning, on the Tuesday the 3rd, is our city election. Polls open at 7 a.m. They'll close at 8 p.m. The election will be held at the former gymnasium portion of the Star Center. So you'll be making entry and exit at the gymnasium side tomorrow. So we're looking forward to that. And also, if anyone hasn't had an opportunity to be inside the building, it's a great time to come in and take a peek. Again, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Council, at some point in the next couple weeks, Adam Rachinsky would like to brief the council in a work session, as he did this time last year after the General Assembly met, to brief council on the outcome of some of the bills passed during the General Assembly. I would suggest that we probably should wait, no offense, CP, but probably after the election and the change of leadership with the council.
I concur.
Yeah. So if council would just think of some dates and kind of bounce them back to me, and we can have Mr. Rachinsky come in and do that. I think we found it very helpful last time. And then looking forward with what we should be looking at with the upcoming session. Going back to elections for a minute, we'll have several openings for election judges for the next election. Next May, we have several people that are going to be retiring, and any citizen that would like to participate in that, it's really a once-in-a-year deal, and it's actually pretty fun. If you talk to several people that have been doing it, they've been doing it for a long, long time, and it is a paid position. It's we pay a stipend to our election team judges that spend, as you can see, about a 14-hour day at the city election site. You don't have to necessarily be there the whole day. You can come and go as long as you just set up a schedule with the chief judge. So anyone interested, please contact City Hall or one of your council members, and we'll make sure that we get a application to you. And lastly, unfortunately, Mayor and Council, we're seeing some increases in illegal dumping along the railroad, up off of Angel Hill, up at the community center, even in the dumpster we had over at the Star Center for some renovations. We found some dumping there, down at the Marina, and also up at the North Park. So we have, for fair warning, we have installed some trail cameras throughout the city in an effort to hopefully catch some the culprits doing the illegal dumping. And this is everything from mattresses to garbage to shingles, furnishings, ice machines, refrigerators, and it's really getting sort of out of hand. We will schedule a spring clean again, another dumpster day, but the last two that we had were fairly poorly attended. So we'll be keeping an eye on that, and Chief will be in contact with you with any camera footage, hopefully. That's all from the administration.
Thank you, Mr. Gambatori. We're going to go to Mr. Shane Grimm, the Director of Planning. Good evening, Mr. Grimm. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens. Tonight, I just have scheduled for next week for the Planning Commission, which will be meeting on 5/9 at 6:30 p.m. And because the budget will be taking place here on Monday, we'll be moving that session to the Opera House. So we'll be at the Opera House to review the plans for Bully Rock parcels H and N. And so again, 6:30 the Opera House. And if anybody has any comments or questions beforehand, they can always contact me. And then on the following Thursday, on 5/12 at 6:30 p.m. in the council chambers, we will have the Board of Appeals meeting to hear a case for a cottage housing at 625 South Washington Street, and also a case for a home occupation at 707 Lafayette Street. And then lastly, we did have a Board of Appeals meeting last week where the hearing examiner was engaged for the first time in probably over a decade, and that went very well. And the way the code is structured, that hearing examiner will provide an opinion, which we have scheduled for May 26th, and she will read that opinion to the board and to the public, and then the board will vote on that opinion, whether they accept her opinion or not. So it's going to plan as it was established in the code a long time ago and carried forward in our new Board of Appeals ordinance. So that works smoothly, and I hope that the council will consider using that in the future when they do feel like there are cases that may have some technical legal questions. And that's all I have at this time. Thanks.
Thanks for your comments, Mr. Grimm. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're going to go with Mr. George Ahorty, our Director of Finance. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens. First, thank you for the passage of the budget amendment. As the mayor reiterated, it's important that we get it done, and as several council members. So I thank you all for moving promptly on it so that we can move forward and do our part to make it happen. Also, thank you for the first reading approval for both the budget and tax rate ordinances. As we move forward the legislative process, I think the mayor articulated very well that we're trying to keep the citizens' costs where they are today, despite what everybody's reading about inflation and the like, and we're going to do our best to keep it that way. And I think we'll be able to pull it off, much because of the assistance from the federal government has helped us not have to reach out to our citizens, and I think that's important to note. Now, as to the state of the three major funds, the general fund, it is sitting at just over $4.35 million, which is about almost $2.3 million ahead of where we thought we'd be for the budget. And that's actually a slight decline of about $60,000 from 2 weeks ago when I reported. The biggest reason for that is some capital project spending that was a little over $70,000 more than we anticipated, and it was offset a little with a most recent twice a month salary where we gained about $10,000 due to vacancies in our salaries from where we thought we would be when we established the budget. The water and sewer fund, the balance has grown to over $325,000, which is an increase of about $240,000 since my last report. Operating profits are up to about $265,000. This is a heavy cycle. That's one of the major reasons is we just sent out all the bills, and this is a heavier cycle, so it really was kind of anticipated. And also, we collected another $70,000 in capital fees, so the development continues. And we also spent about $100,000 in additional capital projects, which brought it down to the increase of $250 or $240, excuse me. The Marina Fund, the fund balance is sitting at just under $900,000. It has decreased $65,000 year to date, but it's a market improvement over where we were 2 weeks ago, primarily because we've received much of the grant funding for the dredging. So it has brought the fund back up to a nice, healthy balance as we get ready for next year. And it's, again, it's what we planned in the 2023 budget, but a little better than what we've planned so far for 22. And that is basically what's happened, the major points of what's happened in the three major funds. I'm certainly available for questions if you have any.
Council, any questions for Mr. DeHorty?
Good.
Thank you so much, Mr. Horty. Appreciate
Thank
the
you,
update.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We're going to go with me, Mr. Tim Whitty, the Director of Public Works. Pleasure to have you here, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you.
You got all kinds of stuff happening in the city lately.
Yes, we do. So we did receive the draft permit from the Army Corps of Engineers for Water Street. I guess that was Monday or Friday of last week. I'm sorry, not to say it's Monday. Friday of last week. We do have to wait 10 days for the National Fisheries and EPA to respond. Typically, they haven't in the history of this system, but we'll just cross our fingers and hopefully we'll be starting to complete that project within the next 10 days. Wilson Street water line project is going forward. We're getting there. We're working on that and with the water line replacement upgrade. The scum line project at the headworks for the wastewater treatment plant, we only had one bidder, so we've had to postpone that bid. We're going to, Michelle's in the process of contacting some contractors to try to see if we can get a few more people to bid on the project. And so we've shifted the dates for as well as when the bids are due. Bully Rock Tower, we had a pre-construction meeting, so that project is going to be coming on for the rehabilitation of the tower, as well as changing the logo and installing a band around for the cell phone tower type antennas, as well as doing some improvements to upgrade the drip line for better, so that the system, just in construction improvements for the project overall that weren't done when it was initially constructed. National Guard pump station, we're actually getting all the engineers reviewing, the contractor submitting its materials for approval. We do have those watershed stewards have come in and they're going to try to look for a project to putting in a floating wetlands in the lock house pond, the old shad pond, and I know we'll be submitting that to you for approval. The Route 40 sewer annexation, that sewer line that we're going to be constructing for those recently annexed properties. I'm working on a bid from the engineer to get that engineering completed. And then for the Chapel Road, I did get in contact with Glenn Hubble. While they never actually allocated funds for the resurfacing of that road, we are going to kind of partner up and combine funds between the city and the county to resurface that road. Either this fiscal year, I might find some funds. I may redirect some funds that we had left over that we were going to put towards for the lanes, just to get this project done. I'm going to see how much it costs, and then either we're going to go ahead and do it this fiscal year or just postpone it and hit it after July 1. And that's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Whitty, for the update. Council, have any questions for Mr. Whitty?
Good.
Good, thank you. Appreciate it, Tim. Sure. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. If this past Saturday was any indication of what the upcoming summer is going to be like as far as special events, then the joint's going to be jumping, as they say. Saturday was amazing with the Pyrex Festival. People were out all over, just shopping downtown. It was phenomenal. It was really, really nice to see. But that is actually a good segue into talking about the special events. I just want to remind people again that because we do have so many special events and there are a lot of moving parts between pedestrians walking, children playing, running, that type of thing, please pay attention to any kind of traffic control devices such as, cones telling you where to park, when to park, police officers, barricades, that type of thing. We want to make sure that for all of our special events, everybody is really, really safe, especially the youngsters that are always at all of the events. So that's very, very important. The other thing I wanted to say, Mayor, this past Saturday was also our drug take-back. We collected approximately a little over 150 pounds of drugs, which is significantly lower than what we normally do. Normally we're in like 300-400 range. But we believe that it's because people are now distributing their unused drugs at the different pharmacies, because they can go at just about any pharmacy here in the county and do that. So, but I'm also going to check with the other agencies to see what they did as well. Hopefully that's what they did, and they're not, throwing it down the toilets or, or polluting our waters. The other thing I wanted to mention, just real quick, Special Olympics Maryland Torch Run, we will be having our annual kickoff down at the Lock House on June the 15th at 8 in the morning, and everybody is more than welcome to join us and to encourage all of those people that are running. Because it is for Special Olympics Maryland. It's a very, very good organization, and they do a lot for our athletes. So, like I said, we kick it off here in Harford County, here in Havre de Grace, and it goes all the way to Baltimore County, and then they carry it. 8 o'clock in the morning on June the 15th at the Lock House. So I know Council President's usually there. Mr. Ringsacker has been there. A lot of folks have been there, and we really do appreciate this support. We'll be letting you know about hats and T-shirts as it gets a little bit closer. So that would be it, sir.
Thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to move on to item 16, business from the mayor's office. I'm going to start by saying last Friday I attended, or 2 Fridays ago, April 22nd, I attended the Earth Day celebration ribbon cutting down at the Living Shoreline Project down at David Craig Park. This was awesome. So all the work we've done on the waterfront from the Havre de Grace Marine Center, which is across the street from Water Street Seafood, all down that shoreline and under the Amtrak Bridge and down towards David Craig Park, and eventually it's going to make its way down towards where Tidewater Restaurant is. All that shoreline work has taken place, and it serves several purposes, but the biggest purpose is it's a stormwater management project. Very similar, if not identical, to the one we did several years ago down at the Maritime Museum. It's just a different way that the city streets collect, or that we collect the rainwater coming from the city streets. It all comes down there and it funnels down to where Gene Roberts Park was. It comes down to where David Craig Park is. You get a chance, hop out, walk through there. It's beautiful. It's all man-made, but it looks like God did it. And don't tell Chris B. Crap I said that, okay? But, I mean, we still have a long way to go. So we're the second phase of the project is going to be doing some infill of the shoreline. We're going to take away the hard shoreline, which is the bulkheads and the stone, and make it beach. And it's going to come out a little ways, a little farther than it is now, but these beaches are designed for public access. Walk your dog, launch a kayak. We're putting in nice boat ramps down across the street from Water Street Seafood. So on Earth Day, back on April 22nd, we had a chance to dedicate what has been done at David Craig Park. The county executive was there. Harford County has contributed over $1 million so far to this project. State of Maryland's probably the biggest contributor there. Ben Grumbles, who's the secretary of MDE, was there. He's been a big supporter of this. Senator Cassidy was there, and Delegate Johnson was there, Delegate McComas. Delegate Johnson, Delegate McComas, and that's it. County Councilmember Andre Johnson. So we appreciate everyone's support. This is the coolest thing about this project. It really, in my mind, my memory, is probably the biggest collaborative project between intergovernment agencies, the state, the county, the city. And I mean, we getting tangled up with the Army Corps of Engineers. I mean, that's big time. And it's for a good cause, and it's something that hasn't been done yet anywhere. It's going to be one of a kind. It's going to show the rest of the country the new way of handling stormwater management, especially in an urban area like the city of Havre de Grace. So we're very proud of this cutting edge project, and I wanted to thank everybody that was able to come out there. And again, if you haven't been out along the shoreline, take a walk down there and just check it out. It's really neat. I know the area on Water Street from old Gene Roberts Park north to the marina. I know that's still like big mountains of sand and rock and stuff like that, but go down to David Craig Park and you'll get a really good idea what it's supposed to look like. Update on the Star Center. Star Center stands for Sports, Theater, Arts, and Recreation. It's all happening there. Just want to let everybody know the biggest concert to come to the city of Havre de Grace in years is about to come on May 14th. It is the biggest Queen cover band in the nation. And the group is called Almost Queen. They'll be here May 14th at the old Havre de Grace High School auditorium. The show starts sometime that day. Now, what time does the show start? 8, 9? Anyway, I don't have it written down here, but the show starts the evening of the 14th. But listen. So there's 2-tiered areas of tickets. So rows 2 through 8 are $49.50, and rows 9 and back are $39.50. But if anybody has ever been to the old high school auditorium, and I know half the city has because they've been to the high school, there's no bad seat. It's just, there is no bad seat there. So it's over 800 seats in the auditorium. We've sold about 300 tickets so far. So ticket sales are really picking up now because we're less than 2 weeks away from the concert. So I hope everybody gets a chance to come down there. So one, it's a great concert. I mean, who doesn't like Queen? I mean, come on. And two, I mean, again, the lead singer looks like Freddie Mercury, sounds like Freddie Mercury. It's a 4-piece band. 8 o'clock, thank you. It starts at 8 o'clock. It's a 4-piece band, whereas I saw a Queen cover band back in November. It was like a 12-piece band, so I wasn't sure about that. But anyway, so this is going to be great. We hope you see you there. It's going to be the first of many concerts that we have at the old auditorium. We're going to try to have one every month, so please stay in tune with Explore Havre de Grace website and the Havre de Grace Tourism Facebook page. We're going to be bringing a lot of big, huge national bands like Elton John cover bands and Fleetwood Mac cover bands are coming. We're not talking about your little $2,000 regional. We're talking about like national acts, because that was the whole point of acquiring an auditorium that had so many seats. You can bring in bigger acts. So and plays, and we'll have plays, and we'll bring in symphony orchestras. It won't just be cover bands. There'll be a lot of multiple use for it. So and the big difference now with the auditorium is now ADA accessible, so persons with disabilities. So can now, we've been doing some work in there. The elves have been in there doing some work to fix up some of the things in the auditorium that were left over from the high school. Bathrooms have been redone, so it's really nice. But I promise you, it's the same old seats that have been here since 1983. We have not touched those, right? It's nostalgic. Nobody wants us to get rid of the old seats, so they're there. You might even like see your old name scratched on the back of them from 1986 or something. I don't know. But Defenders Day. Now this is another big event. We passed a resolution several years ago declaring the first weekend in May to be our city holiday because it's connected to the invasion of the War of 1812, May 3rd, 1813. And so the first weekend in May is a city holiday, and we've started Defenders Day tradition. Now, we've been rained out several times, but we did have it last year. And it's a wonderful event down at Concord Point Lighthouse. And there'll be multiple bands on a stage playing right by the lighthouse. There'll be food trucks everywhere. There'll be vendors. There'll be beverages for purchase, soda, water, beer, wine, and there'll be fireworks in the evening. There'll be a nice fireworks show to celebrate our city's holiday. So we hope you can make it. It's a free event. Just come on down. Come down, walk around, have a good time. The beer and wine sales benefit the Independence Day Commission. Proceeds go to pay for all the stuff that happens on Independence Day. So if you want to buy a buddy a beer, the proceeds go to a great cause. It goes to a parade. So hopefully the weather's good for that. But if it does rain, we have a rain date, which is May 8th, the next day. So we hope it doesn't rain, but if it does rain, we have all those fireworks we have to shoot off. You know what I'm saying? And finally, I want to, two more things. One, I want to thank Dr. Jaffe and his wife Brenda for holding the Ontario Otsego Positive Action Committee Forum. It's known as OPAC. He's had it for a long time. I mean, he's been doing it ever since I ran in 2008 the first time. And it was well done. It was done by Zoom. So thank Councilmember Ringstocker, Councilmember Boyer, and future Councilmember Shanegas. They did a nice job being interviewed, and I hope a lot of citizens had a chance to tune in and just see some topics that were discussed and how the people who are going to be elected to serve you are answering these topics. So it's always good to have a ability for the public to weigh in and ask questions. So thank Dr. Javi. And second, 2 ordinances were passed tonight. I just want to underscore them one more time. The tax rate ordinance and the water and sewer rate ordinance. Your tax rate on your home, on your house, 5.65, or 56.5 cents roughly, basically. Out of every $100 of assessed value is what the city tax rate is. It's been that way for about 5 years now almost. That tax rate has not changed. We're operating with the same tax rate. We're also operating with the same water rate and the same sewer rate. I know a lot of people don't think, the water and sewer rate is that low. But I mean, without rehashing the same old story 1,000 times, I mean, it's got to be where it's set because it's an enterprise fund. But we've held the line on that water and sewer rate for several years now. And the infrastructure replacement fee that we put on the bill a few years ago when we took the $15 million bond bill that was approved by the citizens is doing what it's supposed to be doing and taking a little bit of pressure off of the water and sewer rate. So we don't have to keep tweaking those rates all the time. I can't speak to next year or the year after that, but we always go into it with the intent. The council and this administration goes in the intent. If we can do it without raising the rates, we will. We know that everything else in your life has gone up. I mean, I just went to Walmart last night to get butter, and a 2-pack of Walmart butter was $7.99. When does butter cost $8 for 2 packs? I mean, so it's like all the things. I mean, everything's gone. I don't have to sit here and tell you guys I'm preaching to the choir, but the point is, if there's anything we can do to help, I mean, if we can just keep your water bill maybe an extra $15 cheaper or $20 cheaper every 3 months, we'll try to do it for now. So we're operating about as efficiently as we can. With that said, chlorine's gone up. I mean, all the things we do to treat the water at the plant, fluoride, everything, just all the stuff we use to coagulate all the particles and stuff like that, that's gone up double in price in some areas. So like I said, we're all feeling it. We're all feeling the pinch, but we're very confident with new construction taking place in various parts of the city that, this year that, it's a very reasonable thing to keep the water rates and the sewer rates where they are. So again, I just wanted to let everybody know that that was the thought process behind that ordinance. We'll have a public hearing on the tax rate ordinance and the water and sewer rate ordinance next Monday on May 9th here at 6 o'clock if you want to come in and have any concerns, ideas, suggestions, and then the vote on that will take place on May 16th. That's all my comments for the evening. I'm going to move on to council comments. Councilmember Robertson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, city staff, ladies and gentlemen here and at home. I don't have any comments this evening per se. Just want to again remind folks, talk to your local representatives, your local county council members. Ensure that they understand that you support Havre de Grace and that you support the funding coming into Havre de Grace and your county tax dollars coming back to serve you locally. And also, I want to encourage folks to make sure that they come out tomorrow and vote. You have choices. You have 3 good choices. I have my bets in as who I think is going to pull this one out. But either way, it's important to come out and let them know that you support them and that you support the good things that the city of Havre de Grace is doing. Lastly, I just want to wish everybody a good spring. And again, CP, I know that we're probably going to do a little something at the next council meeting, but this is your last full council meeting, and it's kind of a big deal. So thank you for your service. I appreciate your guidance and your friendship over the years. I appreciate you letting me beat up on you every now and again and take it in stride. So thanks a lot, brother.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Good evening, Councilmember Martin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President, Council, staff. citizens both in the audience and those at home. First, thanks for the citizens tonight that actually showed up and expressed their concerns about the burning and the rental ordinances. It's nice to actually hear comments coming in, both positive and negative, because it gives us things we have to think about. Congratulations, Al, on becoming that's a great award for you, and it also recognizes the Cat Club. So, Grand Marshal with the Cat Club, fantastic. Water and sewer meeting will be Friday on May 13th. Again, good, Jason said it, and I'll reiterate, good luck to the candidates tomorrow. Please come out and vote. Show them your support. You have questions and concerns, you want to let them know that you're paying attention by voting so that they know that you're there, you're behind them, and you'll vote again next year because it gives the people on this side of the dais the opportunity to know that, hey, you are concerned and we will see you again. The mayor covered a lot. On 22nd, though, Harmer's Art Center got a nice check, a donation from the state of Maryland for about $500,000 to help with that project down there. So congratulations to them for their hard work, but also the state of Maryland for putting in that legislation. The 29th was Arbor Day, and we went down to the Lightkeeper's house as well. They planted several trees down there, as well as the day before they planted 30 trees throughout the city. So, and Saturday and Sunday was also the Decoy Museum's 40th show. So it's been a busy time in the city. It's going to continue to be a busy time. As the chief said, be prepared. Special events are happening. This city will be rocking. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Martin. I'll go to Councilmember Ringsacker.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Mayor, my son respectfully requests that you bring in Black Sabbath to the Star Center. So,
all right.
See, there we go. And Kirk as well.
We're working on it.
Again, the OPAC Forum, had a great time. I think I did fairly well. I hope so anyways. I know my two, I guess, you're not really a competitor. Colleagues did a fabulous job as well. Come out to vote tomorrow. I'm going to be there all day long. So, I'm going to need somebody to keep me company, I guess. The election, come on out. CP, I'm going to miss you, buddy. I was actually a little excited today when I pulled up because I didn't see your car in the parking lot, because he always beats me every time, and he's the only one that beats me. And I pulled up and I didn't see your car, and my son said, "No, I think that's Miss Terry's car right there on the street." So he got me, but I'm going to miss you.
Thanks.
Mr. Mayor?
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember Ringsacker. Good evening, Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor. So this week, the first week of May, every year since 1985, is recognized as Public Service Recognition Week. It honors all those who serve our nation as federal, state, county, local, and tribal government employees. Public servants are crucial to our communities. They protect our neighborhoods, they maintain our roads, provide safe drinking water, deliver our mail. They work at the VA, working on budgets, or at Social Security, helping those in need, and they teach at our schools to make sure that our nation is a better place to live. So if you know of somebody this week who works as a public servant, please recognize them and say thank you for your service. Arbor Day was last week. We had a great time down at the Lighthouse Keeper's house. We planted several trees down there. In addition, the city planted several trees along Union and I believe Congress, right? There's about 30 trees planted there, and believe it or not, in the last 5 years, our city has planted around 325 trees, which is great because it's one of the key things that's recognizable about our community. It's the tree canopy. And just as Kirk had said before, I want to encourage everyone to look on your own properties, see where you might have the ability to plant a tree, connect with DPW to make sure it's safe to plant it there based on the water and sewer, et cetera. And please consider planting a tree that is native to the area. It brings it brings birds, it brings butterflies and other insects that kind of help the whole ecosystem. So please consider doing so. And I want to encourage everyone definitely to come out and vote. I want to agree with what Dave said. You know, while we don't have competition for this election, it is really important for us, the people who serve, to know that you do support us and that when we speak for you. And by coming out to vote, it says that. And finally, I want to wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day on May 8th. Good day.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. Good evening, Councilmember Zinner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council, citizens. I don't have too many announcements this evening, but May is National Historic Preservation Month, and the Historic Preservation Commission had 10 banners created that DPW will be hanging throughout the city, just to remind everyone that this is National Preservation Month, Historic Preservation Month. They're also putting together a brochure that lists all of the historic preservation winners from 2004, I believe, until this coming year, 2022. And the way the brochure looks right now, they've listed them by alphabetically by street, so that if you're on Alliance Street, there's 3 properties, for example, you can stay on Alliance Street and see those 3 before you go to the next street. The only request I made was, since they are sorted that way, if they would put the year that the properties were given the award. So we'll see what happens with that suggestion. And they are going to meet on their usual May 10th date, second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. The other thing I wanted to mention was I also attended the Arbor Day tree planting at the Lock House, and I'm sorry, not the Lock House, the Keeper's House. And that property is just so beautiful. I mean, to just stand there and appreciate it, and the size of the trees that were provided were really much more than I expected. I thought they would not be quite that size, and it's going to be so nice to see them flower out and grow over the coming years, but they have a nice start at this point. I was also attended the 40th Annual Decoy Show, and basically was there to provide information regarding the Martha Lewis and hand out information and try to sell T-shirts and coasters and things like that for their fundraiser. Which brings me to the fact that tickets are now on sale for their first fundraiser on May 19th at the Vandiver Inn, and that benefits the nonprofit Chesapeake Historic Conservancy, which is the nonprofit that is refurbishing the Martha Lewis. And good luck tomorrow to the candidates, and I'm sure, I really do hope that our citizens come down and vote and show their support. And I'll be there early, not as early as the candidates, but I'll be there early because I want breakfast from Jimmy. So anyway, that's all my comments for this evening. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Zinner. CP.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too attended the 40th Annual Decoy and Wildlife Arts Festival this weekend. It gave me an opportunity to see our local carvers, and I got to say, I was there on Sunday, and it seemed like the turnout was real positive. I want to give a special shout out to Charlie Pierce, who was this year's honorary chairperson. And those that know Charlie know he is the youngest son of Jimmy Pierce, who started the festival, was one of the ones that started the festival 40 years ago. So he's been side by side with his dad. Charlie, I got to say, is a longtime Little League coach. It seemed like only yesterday you were out on Stansel Field playing baseball, and I'm really proud of your accomplishments. And you've done a remarkable job. Al, congratulations on being selected as Grand Marshal. I've said this from time to time, and I'm not going to get much chance to say it again because my term's coming to an end. But as a longtime Little League coach, the Independence Day Commission hit a grand slam selecting you. And I got to tell you that you were without a doubt the right choice, and I'm going to look at you lead the parade on on the parade day. We continue to strive to improve the gateway coming into Havre de Grace from Aberdeen. We have received complaints from concerned citizens. We have been led to believe that some of the dilapidated buildings have been targeted for demolition. I did talk to Curtis Bueller. He said one of the buildings was being boarded up. But when I rode by, if you look at that building, it's got a big hole in the roof. It looks like it's slanted downward. Somebody's kicked the door in. And so my thought process is, can we really save that building? I mean, if it's not worth saving, let's just tear it down. I mean, it's an ugly eyesore. But it was a topic of consideration at the recent candidates forum. But I got to remind everybody, it doesn't fall in our jurisdiction. So I've reached out on a couple occasions to our Hartford County Council, and I'm still waiting to hear back over their response, a reply from them. But bottom line, we got to get some of those buildings down. It's a horrible eyesore, and it really puts a damper. I mean, they talk about us being the wedding capital, you know, and we have a lot of weddings here. So just think people come to a wedding, and that's what they get to look at coming to Havre de Grace. So stay tuned. I, too, attended the Arbor Day Ceremony at the Lightkeeper's house, and I want to thank the Tree Commission. They, along with the city staff, did an excellent job working with Crow's Nursery on getting all the trees in place, and it was a great day. Last week was Admin Professionals Day, and as my 10-year term comes to an end, I want to personally thank Shyla, Reese, and Tammy, who have really had to work overtime to keep me out of trouble over the last 10 years. So, you know, it was a great day to recognize them, and I appreciate all their support. We had a budget work session, and it was last Monday, and it was an engaging session. I want to thank the city staff, the directors, the mayor, council. Everybody came engaged. A lot of questions were asked, and if you watched it or you were here at the budget session, you learned one thing: it's not a rubber stamp. A lot of questions were asked, and again, I thank everybody, and especially I want to thank George again, because prior to that Monday meeting, I had him on speed dial. I mean, I was asking question after question. So, and as always, he responded with the correct answers. I had a distinct honor to serve as the Master of Ceremonies at the Meadowvale Spring Recognition Ceremony, where our students were recognized for their artwork, their community service, and the Patriot Program. And I got to say, the takeaway from that day was our students are our most treasured and valuable resource. And I got to say, watching all their accomplishments, our future's in great hands. So again, congratulations to all the students for all their accomplishments, and it was a great day. Again, like my other colleagues said, election day's tomorrow. We saw the candidates the best. I've contacted Vegas. I've picked my top three, so we'll see how that goes. Warrior Proud moments. You know, the tennis team, the varsity tennis team beat Joppatown 10-1, Aberdeen 6-5, and Perryville 7-4. The varsity girls lacrosse team beat Pattersonville 17-7. The boys varsity lacrosse team beat Pattersonville 18-8. In baseball, boys varsity beat Bow Manor 6-4, Joppatown 13-3, and Aberdeen 6-3. And the boys JV baseball team beat Elkton 7-4. Our girls softball team beat Seamount Wright 6-1, Aberdeen 6-4, Joppatown 23-3. The girls JV team beat Joppatown 20-10. Again, our sports teams are doing remarkable jobs this spring session, and I'm looking forward to tournament time when that rolls around. Another good note to bring up is that our Warrior Pride, its academic team, they nailed it. They defeated Seamount Wright in the first semifinals, 160-110, and came back to beat Hartford Tech in the finals, 160-120. And again, they took home the second championship in as many years. So that's our ex-academic team. And Mr. Mayor, I'm not for sure, was Molly on that team?
No, my daughter was not on the team, but she was there cheering people on.
Yeah, I saw her there. So and I couldn't get the names of the team that was there, but they did a remarkable job. And again, I went with speedy recovery to softball coach Jeff Thompson, who also works for the city. He underwent surgery this weekend, and we hope to see him back on the field soon. Last but not least, I want to send out my deepest sympathies. First to the family of Amy Quackenbush, who recently passed away, It was a tremendous loss for our first responders at the Havre Grace Ambulance Corps. Amy is the wife of Pete Quacker's Bush, who happens to be the ambulance chief. So our thoughts and prayers go out to them. And again, the thoughts and our sympathies go out to the family of Cheryl Harris. Anybody that knows Cheryl knows that James Harris Field is named after her husband. Her husband was a football coach. He was the athletic director. He was loved by everybody. And I've always said that if Havre Grace had a Warrior Fan Hall of Fame, Cheryl would be at the top of the list. You always saw her at sporting events. Tremendous loss for the Harris family, but a tremendous loss for the Warrior family. So, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you very much, CP. Thanks for the comments. Hope, when you're no longer on council, hope you come back and we'll put an agenda item for you to update us on the Warrior stuff.
So-
I mean, you have a knack for that. We appreciate that.
Somebody will take it over.
I don't know, man. You're the original Warrior on this council.
I don't know, it would be like hitting it out of the park if you did that, because none of us are as smart as all of us.
That's
So,
right. I mean, definitely not the sharpest tool in the shed. I mean, so. But it would be a win-win for everybody if you do.
I mean, he's been up here since Moby Dick was a guppy. I'd be remiss if I didn't hear him.
Well, last but not least.
I really
Love you,
feel like I
CP.
should say something.
So you don't think we've been listening to you for the last 10 years? We have, all right?
Or not long before.
Okay. All right, council, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by, I had a motion by Councilman Ringsager, seconded by CP. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to adjourn, carries 6-0 in the affirmative. The time is 9:06. Thank you very much, everybody. Be safe. We'll see you for First Fridays and Defenders Day weekend and a Queen concert. Take care.
And you know what? Of all days.